Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the don'ts of visiting America, and it's from a channel that I've never seen before, but yeah, I enjoy seeing these videos. I find them quite interesting to see things that are seen as normal in other places, and then, or where I live, and then in the US where maybe that isn't the norm, and things like that. But we're going to go straight into this reaction and see and learn about the don'ts of visiting the US, and that's pretty much it. Links also in the description to my Patreon where you can see reactions that I can't post to YouTube. But let's check this video out.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about the things you should not do while visiting in the United States, or if you're living there and you're a foreigner, you might not know. So I'm just going to share with you the things I learned that you should not do in the US.
Here we go.
So number one is PSA, public show of affection. And it might be
well, like kissing and stuff. Don't kiss your partner in the US.
different state to state, or even in France if you're in the north or in the south. But in my experience living in PA and living in Paris, I learned that in Paris people are a lot more showing of their affection to their partner in public than in Pennsylvania. So like making out and stuff like that, you will see that in Paris, like especially in parks, and people will be like kissing and making out.
Let's be real, no one wants to see that. No one wants to see you slobbering your partner's face in public. I don't actually care. But, I mean, I've never actually been to Paris either, and I know Paris is the city of love, so maybe that's also why. You're comparing, like, the city for the most affectionate city in the world versus just a random city in the US. Like, I feel like Paris is always going to be more affectionate. You're going to find people being affectionate, like couples and stuff, in Paris, as opposed to any other city in the world. It's always just going to be more, but there we go.
Out on the grass and stuff like that. But in the US, you won't see that as much, especially at least in Pennsylvania. So it was really funny when I was like bringing friends. They were like, "Oh my goodness, like French people are just like making out in public and stuff like that." So it's really funny to see how what is accepted in France versus the US, or at least Pennsylvania, and like showing to your partner your affection. Like in the US, of course, you can kiss and like hold hands and stuff like that. But making out is like something you should probably maybe not do it, at least in public or in a park. But in Paris, don't be shocked.
Surely people don't care in the US that much. I'm assuming in the US, like, as opposed to somewhere like Saudi Arabia or Qatar or something like that, I feel like you can actually get in trouble for showing affection to your partner, whether it's kissing or even like holding hands. I don't know about holding hands. In the US, it's probably like any other place, really. It's fine. You might get a comment here and there like, get a room. But I'm sure in the US it's completely fine.
You come over from the US and you go to Paris, you will see people being a little bit too affectionate to one another. Even me, I've been living in Paris for a while, and still sometimes I'm just like, what are they doing? Like, there are just like hundreds of people around, like, can you stop? So yeah, so I think it's really funny. Let me know in the comments how it is if you're in the US, like what states are you in? So number two is not walking in someone's yard or grass. So in the US where I lived, it was really weird because compared to France,
who's gonna walk in someone's garden?
Because where I live in France, close to Paris, like almost everyone's yard is closed up, like you have fence all around them.
Same.
But where I was living in PA, everyone did not have fence, so you could like barely like go in someone's yard because it was not fenced in, you know. And it was really hard because sometimes you can't really walk. Like there is no sidewalk in the US. Like so many places you don't have any sidewalks. So either you walk on the road or you walk in someone's yard. And I remember one time I was walking down the street, and just, you know, just to be safe, I didn't want to walk on the road because if I didn't hear the car, I don't know, I just don't like it. So I was walking on someone's grass and I got yelled at. Like someone opened their window and they were like, "What are you doing? Don't walk on my grass." And I mean, it makes sense, you know, it's your yard, you don't want people to walk in your yard. But because it's also not fenced in, and because there is no sidewalk, and you're like, I don't want to walk on the road, so you just walk on the grass, and it doesn't seem like you're in someone's, you know, space because it's just open, so you don't really pay attention. But yeah, don't be.
That's pretty fascinating. I mean, I don't know how many cities it's like this in, but the fact you don't have the option to, even like within cities, you don't have the option to walk in some areas unless you want to walk on the road. Damn, man, that would be quite a culture shock. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to the US why I'd be like walking in like some areas where people live. You're usually going to like inner city areas when you're traveling to big cities, right? Or just to cities in general on holidays. You're not going to areas where people live. Like that's just not really a common thing that you go and do when you're traveling. But even then, it's pretty wild.
Don't do that. I got yelled at, I think, really one time, and then a few times where they was just told me nicely, but yelled at one time. So be careful. Don't walk in someone's yard. It's not because it's open that it's public. It's their property. So be careful with that. And yeah, pay attention while you're walking. If there is no sidewalk, just walk on the road, but just be careful. Number
Jeez.
3 is not kiss Americans on the cheek, except I guess, man, if you're from the same family or your friends.
Oh, like when you're first meeting them. Is this what I think this is what she means when you first meet someone or you meet like your girlfriend's mum or dad or whatever. I mean, I guess in Europe maybe it's like the cheek kiss or whatever.
Coming from France, we do the beers, so we just like kiss on each cheek. And so when I came to the US, I kind of wanted to do the same thing, you know, it's what I grew up doing. And I know in the US...
When I first met my girlfriend's mum, I didn't know what was happening. She like came close, I was like, whoa, is this what you do? And then she did the cheek thing. I was like, I mean, this is how uncultured I was. I didn't even really know what she was doing. And then we ended up just bashing noses. And I've got a fat nose anyway, so that's probably not helpful. But yeah, that's a good first time experience. But is this just a European thing then? Just throughout Europe? I thought it was just some countries, but maybe it's just a thing throughout Europe.
US, we couldn't really do it. Like, it was not a thing. But I didn't think people were kind of scared and were like, wait, what are you doing? You know, I thought they would be just like, I don't know, just not used to it. And then I came and I was trying to kiss people on the cheek just to say hi like usual, and people were looking at me so strange and so weird, and they were like, no, we don't do that here, you know, like that's just so weird and just too close to people. And even girls would not want me to kiss them on the cheeks. Like, it was really weird, and we had so many fun conversations where they asked me like, you kiss guys on the cheek even if you don't know them, or even your boyfriend, your friend's boyfriend? And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't do anything, it's not, you know, it doesn't has any meaning, just to say hi. So yeah, it's really weird. If you come to another country, always make sure how do other people say hi in the country you're visiting, because it's always different. So many countries have different ways of saying hello. Some people don't touch, some people kiss, some people hug. And in the US where I was, it was kind of a half hug, sometimes a full hug or a handshake, but don't kiss them on the cheek. Another thing not to do in the US is going somewhere and expecting to get alcohol without having an ID. So it's really much harder in the US, especially if the age is like 21 to be legal to buy alcohol. But even after 21...
I'm at the point now where I feel like I actually look older than 18. So I don't really face ID. But even like sometimes now I still get ID'd, which is just a thing. Obviously, you've got to be 18 in the UK to buy alcohol. In the US, 21. You got to be, I mean, it's definitely a... Like, you can look 21, or you can, like, sort of be, I guess, assumed to be 21, even when you're, like, probably, like, low end 30s. So you're going to get ID'd for a long time, I assume. In the US, you're probably going to be, like, getting 40-year-olds getting ID'd at points. I guess it's because it's their job, they don't want to lose it, and they could, I guess, risk losing their job, but that's just a different world.
They will still ask you your ID because I guess, you know, they can't really tell if you're 21 or not, so they always check your ID. If you come from another country, especially Europe, usually they don't do that. Like in France, we don't really check IDs, I guess. So I never had my ID asked, well, when I was younger, of course, but now no one asks me for my ID. If I go to a bar, if I go to, I don't know, to a restaurant, if I go to a club or whatever, they would not ask me my ID most of the time because, I don't know, they just know, or, you know, I'm over 18, so they don't ask. So it was really weird in the US because sometimes I even forgot. Like, I would go to a bar and I would be like, oh shoot, I need to have an ID, and I completely forgot because I'm so used to not having an ID on me for alcohol. And I've seen people showing ID even at restaurants, which never happened to me either. So it was really weird. So just not expect to get stuff without your ID. So if you have other things that you should not do in the US, let me know in the comments. I would like to chat with you about them. I'm sure there are.
Well, here we go. Things you shouldn't do in the US. In America, never point your gun at anyone unless you intend to use it. What the fuck? A bar can lose its license if it serves an underage customer, even by accident. Hence the IDs. It makes sense. Yelling, get off my lawn is how I say hello. Never drive anywhere without your ID on you either. See, I've seen like that sort of stuff. Is it because if you get pulled over, or is it just a legal requirement to have your ID on you when you're driving? Police officers believe they can stop you and ask you questions at any time, but lawyers and judges believe that if you aren't doing anything wrong, you have any rights to ignore a police officer and walk away. Oh, he's replying to someone. I'm an American and what you said is generally correct and good advice. Bigger cities usually have sidewalks, it's the more rural towns. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, there we go. Let me know your thoughts on this. And these are the things you shouldn't do when you're visiting the US. And yeah, until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.